You can consider for now, and I'll start it off. Are we supposed to come in yet? We're not like they play. Get you to sign. You know, sit on the roll and make mine.
How about four?
Good afternoon. How are y'all? All right, gonna get on my technical stuff set up here. You need that stand? Yeah, this is fine. Okay. I'm all leaving here.
Well, trying to get far enough back, I can get everything in the picture too.
No, if you decide to want it, it's here.
Right now, I've got code people. Plug in power, got you up. See what I'm I think the power's on. I didn't bring a remote.
Oh, need one.
Can this one be powered on without the remote?
There we go. Didn't exist. That's what happened. This mic isn't working, right? It's not any harder. Short. This mic is. Okay, that's what I'm wanting outside. Seven minutes.
I got audio on Judge Reese.
I don't know where you are.
Yeah.
All right, you can promise me you won't read ahead. Okay, the next presentation. Take notes on it. I'll put it ahead, I chance.
I didn't get one.
I don't have enough for everybody, guys. All right, guys, go ahead and use this mic.
I can hear you. You don't have to have it up where it was, it's fine. It picks up.
Okay. I
hear you now.
Sure. All right. I want to welcome you to the salary increase hearing, August 21st. And I have a presentation to do to give you history of our county, why you will see why later, and why we're in some of the situations that we're in. But I think it's important that you know that. And so with that, we've had let's go through the presentation if I can get the technology to work. So figure out. There we go. Okay. All right. The commissioners and myself established the pay raise for. Okay. All right. I can do that. I can do that. The commissioners and I set a pay raise of 3% back on August the 10th. And with that, set in a motion of a series of events that has to occur. First thing is that pay raise for elected officials had to be posted in the paper. Okay, so for the public to know. And that also the next day we notified all elected officials of what their pay raise is going to be. This is what was posted in the paper right there. And then the elected officials have 5 days from the date that they're notified in which to agree. In other words, they say, I don't agree with what we are going to provide, what we have proposed. And so they have the opportunity to agree or sell it. And that's what the purpose of this hearing is today. And so what I wanted to say was go through this, the leadership of the county. I serve as the non-voting chairman, running election, the meeting. The voting members, there's 9 voting members in the grievance hearing. And we have chose to use jurors, former grand jury jurors. And that's what you go down to the public member selection. And that's how they were selected. And so the names were put in the bowl and we drew on. So that y'all were the lucky ones that got picked. And I just so thank you for coming out here for this today. So and then the next thing, grievance process, elected officials have filed and with that has been done. We had 2 people file, Constable Burton and the district clerk Karen Wilson. Okay, so those are the 2 that we'll be hearing today. The next thing says is open meetings. This is an open meeting. It's being recorded. It's going out on YouTube. So people can watch it live or watch it later. So be careful what you say. It is recorded. Okay. So, and then this was the notice to show that we met the requirements for the Open Meetings Act, which was posted on the 17th of August. So we met those requirements. Now, the next phase is what the voting and outcomes, and I want to explain to you what the process is going to be. Okay, so we will have each one of the people reading their salary. Individually, they will do a presentation. They will have 10 minutes to do their presentation, and then the commissioners will have their opportunity to speak, and then the public will have opportunity to speak, and sometimes intermingles in that regard. And then at that point in time, it comes to you guys to vote on yay or nay, and I'll go through all the details right there. So you've got, first of all, if there is a unanimous yes vote, okay, all of you agree, yes, they deserve the salary that, or that they should be paid the salary that they were agreed for, then it goes through and it becomes part of our budget. Okay, there's nothing that the commissioners will be involved. Okay, next is if 6 to 8 of you vote yes, but not a majority, not a unanimous. Okay, then the Grievance Committee gets to decide what amount of increase for the elected officials. And that will be a second process that we go through, in which you go through and kind of come up with an agreed amount that you would like to present. Okay, and then that amount that you present to the commission court is then considered at our next commissioner court meeting. Okay, to be added to the budget. Okay. And then if there is less than 6 votes, yes votes, then the salary will remain as proposed by the legislature. Okay. So that's the process. Now, I want to give you history. Okay. This chart I prepared when I first started as county judge in 2023. I went back and did some research. And I researched all of the salary increases from the year 2020 or 2000 to 2023. That's 23 years. Okay. And I did it for two officials. I did it for elected official, and I did it for clerk. Okay. And went through and you can see, I want to get with more detail here. Those are the numbers for 23 years. So then I took it. Now, if you look at the yellow shaded items, that is the years in which there were no increase whatsoever. Okay, of the 23 years, there were 10 years in which there was no increase for the county employees. And there were 2 years when there was actually a pay cut. So, and that happened on for both. It's in the handout.
Oh, she got that.
Okay. So, so there was 2 years that there was pay cut. So you look at 12 years out of 23 where there was no increase or a decrease. Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, we're behind. Okay, when I came into office, we're behind, and the commissioners before me for 2 years. They started, if you look down to 21, 22, 23, they started back trying to raise it up 5%, 6%, and then 24, 25, 26. We did some major things to get salaries up for the county employees, but not for the elected officials. Oh, yes, we did do some adjustments for elected officials, not enough, but I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so every 2 years, Texas Association of Counties, that's an organization that works with all the Texas counties. They do a salary survey of all the counties and come up with the pay rates for the different ones. And so what we did, we took this salary, it just came out in July, so this is fresh, and it came out with, they come out in space. They have all the different counties, but we just selected the counties with a population of 50 to 99,000. Okay, there were 31 of those counties that we used. Of those 31, only 21 actually reported salaries. Okay, so we use those 21. So I'll go first, I'll pick on the commissioners, so they'll be the first one. But I want to explain to you what this chart does, okay? And so, and we're gonna go, each one of the elected officials has a chart just like this. And so in this particular case, there was only 19 counties that reported. So you've got the blue right up here is above the median. Okay, this is supposed to be green right here. Wilson County, number 10, is basically what's called the median. Half are above, half are below. Okay, so and then the rest down here are below the median. And then what you got here, and you can't see it right here, I've got the average down here underneath the stop share. But you will see on each one of these charts where the official in Van Zandt County ranked among these counties that provided the salary survey. So we have Van Zandt County in this case, commissioners are number 1482. Okay, it's well below the median, okay, of 90 right there, and then well below the Chambers County. I won't tell you why Chambers County is able to do that, but it's Indy or Indy. Anyway, so that's the commissioners, and I don't want to take a lot of your time, so I'm just going to go through these real quick. Okay, you've got the county clerk, you got the treasurer. Look at the yellow line, number 19 on both of them out of 21. Okay, you've got the tax assessor, you got the justices of peace, 19 out of 21 on both of those. Okay, you've got the sheriff and the county judge. The sheriff is 18 and I'm 18 right there. And if you notice, if you go back to some of these, the difference between Van Zandt County and the median in most all of these is right around $15,000. Okay, $15,000 to get just to halfway up. Nowhere above that, halfway up. Okay, so but on the sheriff and myself, it's more like $20,000, $20,000 to $25,000 to get up to the median. Okay. So, and I did a calculation based on this. The cost to get all elected officials up to the median level would be $210,000 for 1 year. And that 200,000 continues on forever if we ever got there. So, the commissioners for Brandon and the current commissioner court have been working on trying to bring our employee salaries up. And we have done that. If you go back and look at, the past and how low they were. We were able to do that in 2023. We did try to get everybody. We consolidated positions. We unified positions and got our county employees on a market rate. Okay, we got them up, but we haven't followed through with elected officials. So we have the two grieving today. Karen Wilson, district clerk. She's number 19 on hers. And the average is 80,000. Median's 80,000. Hers is 65. The constable Burt is and we have been working on constables' salaries for many years or several years now, and have been able to get it up to the average. We are actually the median at $62,000 for that pay. So I just want to get you comfortable with that. So are there any? Let me go back. Are there any questions from okay. So well, before we start the hearing, what I need to do is I need to assign or get a volunteer to be the foreman of the grievance hearing. And the duties of the foreman will be to select the ballots and tally it. So I need somebody good with math. Okay. Anybody gonna do? Anybody watching? Nobody's looking at me.
Yeah, down to 12, you got it.
Okay, and your name? So, okay. Yeah. All right, very good. So with that, we will begin. Yes. Okay. All right. Even more? Even more.
You are the alternate.
Okay. All right. Very good. So the 9 are on the hearing and then one alternate in the event that one of y'all gets sick and has to run out. We still have somewhere to finish the hearing. So with that, I will now, have, I believe, if you have no objection.
Johnson, that's a good question.
You may.
If there are 10, were your numbers, unanimous and et cetera, was it based on 10? Or is that gonna change the numbers? If all of them vote for it, it changes, if it's 6 to 8, et cetera. Then it goes through that process, is that?
Well, okay, 10 are not gonna vote, only 9 are gonna vote.
9 are gonna vote.
Right. But the 10th is an alternate, he doesn't vote unless someone drops out.
Okay, but those numbers you were talking about before is based on this number.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Technical questions, so, Heath, do you have any objections to Karen going first?
I do not.
Okay.
Here, I mean, I
No, I don't know if you go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I know you had a.
Well, You were first on the, hearing agenda, and so I just wanna make sure it's okay with that Karen go first, so Karen, the proposed salary was 67,672 and requested salary 74,471.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for your time, your focus, and your service to this county sitting on this committee. My name is Karen Wilson, and I have the distinct privilege of serving as your district clerk. I've held this office for 24 years, over nearly 2 decades, 2.5 decades. I have dedicated my professional life to maintaining the absolute integrity, security, and efficiency of our court records and legal frameworks. Today, I stand before you as the longest serving current elected official in this county. This extensive tenure has allowed me to successfully guide our office through massive legislative updates, historical county growth, and major technology evolutions. I'm here today to bring to your attention a severe pay intervention that has inadvertently developed within our county's current compensation structure. Right now, my annual salary is $67,672. Meanwhile, newly elected officials who have not yet fulfilled one single term, their base salary is $69,621. They also get a $15,000 car allowance, which their salary is $84,621. This means that 2 decades of proven, dedicated institutional knowledge is being compensated $16,949, lower than an introductory level teacher. While I fully support competitive professional compensation for all county officials to attract quality talent and a system where 24 years of continuous stability carries a significant financial penalty, creates an unintended structural flaw. It inadvertently signals to the public and to the county employees that long-term commitment and experience carries negative financial value. To understand why this pay inversion must be corrected, it is essential to look at the high stakes responsibilities mandated to this office of the district clerk by the Texas Constitution and the state statutes. The duties of this office carry immense legal and financial liability to our county. First, the district clerk serves as a major financial steward. My department is legally responsible for managing, protecting, and accounting for substantial sums held within the court registry funds during active litigation. Right now, that account is over $2 million that I managed on a monthly basis, as well as trust funds invested on behalf of minor children. We accurately collect and disperse court costs, fines, and fees that funds dozens of local state agencies. As an administrative error, handling these funds creates immediate financial and audit liabilities for the county. Second, we are the constitutional keepers of the records for civil, family, and felony criminal cases. This includes safeguarding highly sensitive sealed information. Furthermore, my office manages the entire local jury system. I am not a police officer. Furthermore, my office manages the entire local jury system, from issuing summons to organizing the physical jury panels for our courts. If a felony case disposition is recorded incorrectly or a jury pool is mismanaged, it can result in a mistrial or a constitution violation, and it costs the county. The state recognizes the complexity of these duties, which is why Texas law strictly mandates that the district clerks complete 20 hours of continuing education every single year to stay current on changing legislation. My 24 years of experience means I do not just react to these shifting statutes. I have spent decades successfully navigating them, ensuring our local justice system runs seamlessly and without interruption. In a highly specialized role like district clerk, experience is not just a passive metric, it is a direct, measurable asset to the taxpayers. Over 24 years, I have mastered the statutory requirements of the Texas judicial system, managed complex budgets, and cultivated a stable, highly trained department. A healthy public pay structure functions correctly when long-term stability is recognized because it prevents costly administrative errors, it minimizes employee turnovers, it guarantees the seamless operation of the office. My department runs smoothly and efficiently because of the historical context and operational knowledge I have accumulated over 24 years of public service. I want to emphasize to the community that my request today is exceptionally reasonable, measured, and highly mindful of our county's budgetary resources. I'm not asking to match the compensation of these elected officials, nor am I asking to exceed them. Instead, I'm requesting a modest adjustment to $74,471. Now let's look closely at this objective amount. What it represents. It is a practical conservative adjustment of $6,798 to bridge a portion of the existing gap. Most importantly, if you approve this request in full today, my salary will still exactly $10,150 less than these newly elected officials. By proposing this specific number, I'm actively demonstrating my respect for the county's physical constraints, while asking this committee to take a meaningful baseline step towards operational equity. Members of the committee, the Texas legislature established this grievance process. It's supposedly to remedy unique internal inequities that the standard budget cycle inadvertently overlooked. Correcting this inversion is a fundamental matter of institutional fairness. It ensures that the position of district clerk and the 24 years of continuous service dedicated to it is treated with basic dignity and professional equity. I respectfully request that you vote to adjust the district clerk's salary to $74,471. I truly thank you for your consideration and your time. And the numbers that he had, they just came out with a new survey with the Texas Association of Counties. And all the district clerks in my population get paid 87% more than I do. I'm on the bottom of the list. And this is not just a message for me. This is a message for every employee here in this county that works for the county. I believe that they should be rewarded for their time. This structure that we've been on for years is straight across. So all of my deputies have a deputy pay. Then you have a supervisor, you have a chief deputy. But everybody has to stay on the same pay. We can never give them anything for their time because we have to wait for the commissioner's court to approve that to give them a raise. So I just want, I'm here for my behalf, but I want it to reflect on all of the employees of Bain City. Thank you. Y'all have any questions? Y'all can talk to me. We're not in court.
Yeah, we want, still have, the commissioners, we have, and the commission.
And how much time did I use, Judge? 12, okay. I was gonna ask, can I rebuttal what they say? Will I have a chance to do that? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I don't know how many of you folks are business owners, but we all understand the strengths of budget. But we also understand the benefits and how the experience and how the experience managing supervisor position. So I would ask you to consider the value of the employees that we have, longevity that's associated there. And keep in mind that running a department it is a value not only to the other people that are in this county, but also to the people who come before the courts with these different lawsuits.
Did you see?
If something is recorded in error,
Back that way, turn mine. I needed.
wrong name, wrong property, wrong case number, the ability for future researchers to locate that and know it, why it's wrong and get that corrected is very difficult. So I do recognize the value of the information that she is in charge of and the various funds, et cetera. So those came to my mind as I was listening there, and hopefully those were also probably in your mind. Thank you.
I'll say we have a problem, and Karen's right. We did get the salaries up the best that we could, but we are falling behind on the longevity issue of it. Where she says she's been here 20 years, I've been here 4. Fix the longevity, we don't have it fixed now, so it has nothing to do with this, but this county does have a problem with we've got to solve the longevity issue because just like she said,
We were last, now we're just third last. So, but we do have to do something with the book. I think longevity does matter, experience.
And you have to take in mind that you went through some pretty hard years where other people that would be less dedicated might have left. Pay cuts that affected her retirement. You know, there's a whole lot of things that happened there through that 24-year period. There were some very hard years.
Very. 12 years for that raise.
2 years of furloughs. Because I wouldn't, my employees had to take furloughs. And so I was not.
That's how I ended up in the commissioner's office. Furlough, and they were gonna cut position in the clerk's office. So to save a job in there, I moved over so that someone in there would not get fired.
We just wanted you in the commissioner's support office. We didn't really have to do it.
So, I recognize when I came in that we had a lot of work. There was a lot of baggage that we needed to clean out. And, I came from the private sector. In the private sector, you have the ability to, offer performance, incentives, pay raises based on performance and, other incentives, you know, that government does not allow you to do. And it's very hamstringing in that way. To reward people for doing a job. Okay. I believe pretty much every single elected official has the same situation as parent is that they're understaffed and overworked. Okay. And I would like to say that the voters are getting a good deal, okay, because they're not having to pay the going rate for the elected officials. That's not necessarily the best situation to be. But the positions, when I say it's she's doing a great job, but this is what the position entails. This is what the state has set as the position. Okay. And we based our and I don't know where it started, but again, we were probably with everyone else back in 2000 or whatever. And because we didn't get to do the increases for so many years, that's what got us so far behind. And we can't just jump up to it. But she just signed up again. Okay, she just
Nobody else wanted it.
she ran again.
That's what I beg my employees, please.
But you know, and it knew what the pay was. It said she knew what the pay was. Okay. And we know that the pay is too low, but she knew what it was. And every single position in the county needs to be increased. But we've got to do it on a plan method in which the taxpayers are not burdened. And we got to figure out how to do it so that it doesn't affect the taxpayers. We don't want to have to raise taxes. We got to continue to give 3% raise, a minimum 3% raise to our current employees to keep them at the market rate and to keep them from going out to the private sector. We are now able to pull people from the private sector, whereas that was not an option before. And when you do it, when you're able to do that, then they stay longer. And it's one of the things, and like Karen says, at the experience level, there's a very valuable cost or having the experience. You save a lot of errors from a new person coming in and having to pay for that. And so, and I agree with her on that. So, are there any other public comment? Yes, Bob.
Yeah, that come out of the government.
Come out of the government.
Second, you should call it. I worked for the government for over 25 years. And there was years I did not get any raises. And I don't think out of that 25 years, I ever got over a half a percent raise. And I was head of the department. And I knew what it paid, but also too, with what I was getting paid, most people didn't understand was the insurance, the retirement, all the benefits I got with it, which made it a pretty decent job. And it didn't pay here what I'm making now when I retired at 25.
And I like the insurance, the health insurance plan we have is very good. It is a premium plan, PPO, and but it costs the county $1,000 a month for every employee. Okay, and the retirement plan we contribute, the employee contributes 7% of their salary. County contributes 7% on top of that. So whenever you talk about a new employee, hiring a new employee, for every dollar that you pay them in salary, it actually costs the county $1.17 for all of that. That doesn't include health insurance. That includes the retirement, FICA, unemployment, and workers' comp. And so that's what we have to calculate in whenever we're hiring an employee, is that additional 17. But yes, those are some very intriguing. In addition to the 14 paid holidays, what do you have, 20 or 4 weeks vacation at this point in time? So with 20 years of experience, so there's a lot of benefit that somewhat offset the lower salary in there. So are there any other? You're gonna have to come up. You're gonna have to come up to the podium where the microphone is.
I can shout. I just wonder if retirement is based on the last 3 or on a certain number of the final year's salary.
I can't answer that question for you, but that's typically how it's based, yes. Or
Like 3 years.
yes, ma'am.
If you look at our county, you know, the population of our county, and then where we fall out in that, you know, where we fall out in, as far as 19. Our county population is higher than #1 chamber. I think it is that correct?
It is, yes,
So most of our county would be considered a rural county,
that's correct.
and a lot of our taxable property falls under an exemption somewhere. So about half of our tax base is under exemption. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's one of the reasons we struggle so much. Trying to find it.
We're a rural-based county,
Yes.
with lots of ag exemptions, therefore our tax revenue is much lower than a lot of these other counties. That's what I didn't want to go into, is the counties that have much more industrial, much more just industrial in other things in them, don't have as much rural land. So you go right down and see at the bottom Harrison County, okay, very rural. Okay, a lot of those down at the bottom part are the rural ones, and they're paying a lot lower. And the ones on the higher one are much. While the population is not as much, the revenues that they get are much higher because their tax base much higher in that regard.
That's no reflection on character. It just kind of gives an idea of where we struggle, like finding we don't have a money tree, like so difficult stuff like that.
And Joe,
Can you come up?
Yes.
yes, please. I'm not sure how the mics pick up when you
Yes.
speak back.
Hey, good afternoon, I'm Joe Carter. I'm retired Texas Dean Warden, I've been a month for 31 years in the state. I came to work here for Sheriff's Office in 2017, worked here for 7.5 years, last 2.5 years, I got appointed sheriff here in Philadelphia, pretty sure. I retired December 2024. I was following 3 different budget hearings processes from the Sheriff's Office here. I want to just say one thing to you, let you know who I am, basis over here. Remember, these people that are on this list, they all have the same benefit package, retirement, insurance, all those things. All those people have the same thing. One thing I will bring up is one of the things I tried to get fixed while I was here. My hats off to these guys. They didn't create where they're at now. Okay. When I came in the sheriff, I inherited what was there. They inherited what was there, so did he. They're doing the best they can. But I can tell you, I did last year on the change, I did a 10-county survey, we're looking at both last year. I asked for it the year before when I was still sheriff. Our retirement, the contribution for the county is 1.75 to 1, is that correct? All the other counties I looked at, 10 counties I went from. Harrison County on the east end, the farthest east, Gregg County, Smith County, us, Crawford County, Entertain. I went north to Sioux Hopkins County, Range County, I think I took in Dallas, and then I went down to Anderson and Henderson County. Those counties in. We're at 1.75 to 1. The next lowest to us was Range County, their contribution was 1.85 to 1. Henderson County was 2.25 to 1. What I'll get down to is the average in there of the retirement contribution for the county was 2 to 1 contribution. We're still, the retirement for the employees is still less. I'm not a businessman. I was a law enforcement officer, but I managed to teach people and working people. We had that good success to stay. We had proper training and a clear mission. We had the equipment. I'll take people to get our job done. We did the best we could do here at the sheriff's office. If you run a business, I can tell you for law enforcement business stuff. You see what the world is today. It's hard recruiting people. You got to get the right people. Working on people. Some are good people. Some of them aren't. But some have worked in their lives. We come in contact with them. You know, the right people have common sense. When they come in contact, these contacts don't go south. They use the amount of force they need to get our job done. Everybody goes home safe. That's the bottom line we're at. You've got to get the right people. You got to keep them. It will cost you 10 times to operate any type of operation. If you don't have the right people, you don't have them trained. If you keep hiring new people over and over again, you send the wrong people out there, we task people every day to do things that we're prepared to do. Anyway, you know where we're going. I appreciate you listening to me. Just remember, those people have the same package as the other employees do. She's done a great job here. If she tells you what her job entails, what her job description is, a lot of it relates back to funding for this county comes from the state. If those numbers aren't done correctly, if they're not reported on time, kind of lose funding off of them. Bruce Williams, attorney, the district court, all these courts, the civil, the family, the criminal courts, all those records will be done. They got to be done right and they're honored. Okay, thank you.
All right, is there anyone else? All right, Karen, do you want to wrap up?
Yes, sir. I've heard the same thing for 24 years, y'all. We're gonna get there, we're gonna get there. And they have done a good job. We have a couple of these commissioners that have really came in and stepped up and tried to bring revenue in this county. But there's wasteful spending too going on. I won't get nasty in here, I'm not gonna do that, but we have some that are abusing their salaries. And if they can take this money right off the bat, when they've only been here 2 years, almost 3 years, I think that I'm not asking for much to adjust my salary this little amount. And I might be wrong, but Mitch, you didn't vote for the salary, not 3% increase.
I'll take it.
So there you go, there's 3,000 that would go in the budget, don't forget committee. Since he's not gonna take it, so we won't have a big adjustment with the budget. But I really wish that y'all would take this in consideration. And please send a message to all the employees and things. It's hard to come up here and do this. And that's the reason why a lot of the other elected officials win. And I mean, that there just has to be a time that we're equal. You know, we've got to, and experience too. And we got to send a message, especially to our people. And they have gotten up in their salaries. And I do admit they are working hard in this budget. So thank you all for your consideration. Thank y'all for showing up. And if y'all have any questions, I'm glad to answer. Thank you.
So I would like to conclude with the fact that the commissioners and myself are responsible for the financials of this county and the budget. And the taxpayers expect us to do the best we can. This year we face a decrease in market value of property, and the tax rates are going to have to be adjusted. And in order for us to get the same amount of revenue, we've talked about the health insurance increase is going to cost $200,000. The 3% raise is going to cost $500,000. We have things going on that have to be addressed in the jail. It's going to be around $1 million long term to get done. And all these are on top of what the expenses that we get had to adjust our, auto, our fuel budget because of the cost of gasoline increasing $1.50 mid-year. And that's been a significant amount for the county. Postage is gone up. I mean, everything keeps going up.
He didn't mention the state mandates.
And state mandates too. We will be spending this year, or this next coming year, close to $1 million in indigent legal defense. That is, all the people who get arrested and have to be represented, you know, Miranda rights. You don't have a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. Guess who pays for that? Taxpayers do. We're now approaching $1 million a year to do that. And, you know, all these things keep going up, and we can't, you know, people think that we have all this money to deal with. Well, it's got places to go, and we can't. The only thing that we can do is either cut services, okay, and we will have added close to $1 million to the road and bridge that we took away last year. 700,000 that we took.
We gave away.
You gave it. Well,
We gave it back to some.
you gave it back to the general fund.
It wasn't taken from us.
Right. And so, the commissioners agreed to do that. And so we're putting it back in order to, the priorities are to us, are law enforcement and roads. And so that's where a lot of this money is going, that's coming in. But again, the revenues, the permanent tax rates are not sufficient to cover what the anticipated increases are going to be. So where do you cut? You know, that's the job. And so, you know, so we looked at the races, and we believe that they're legitimate, and that the every single county official, elected official, commissioner puts in a lot, and they do it out of the love of the county. I truly believe, because they many of them could easily get a job in the private sector making a lot more. They're service oriented, and that's why they do it in that garage. Anyway.
I'd like to ask the grand jury, after we're done here today,
Grievance here.
stop by the commissioner's court office and pick up a brochure, because we do have a way that will be on the ballot in November to bring the county, it's going to be voted on by the people, to bring in the county $4 to $5 million that's not your property taxes, to bring in more revenue is not property tax, it's sales tax is what it is. And there are brochures in the commissioner's office that you can pick up and learn about it, because it will be voted on people. That is a extra revenue stream that we can try to get without using property tax money. So stop by there and get a brochure.
Okay. So we are ready. Susan will pass out the ballots. Yeah.
May I say one more thing? One more time.
I'm glad you said may I.
No,
Yes, you may.
Karen works all the time. She's here late. She works all the time. She works more than 40 hours a week. I can put her else, it's a lot.
I did a lot of hours.
And I would say, Esther, of course, is in here, over the 24 years she's been here. She doesn't take that patient without her in her time.
Because expert of the legal, their documents that come in, the girls get behind. I mean, because you might see one document and then you might not see it for another year. I mean, my job is completely legal. We're filing lawsuits, we're notifying people that they did sue. Once they take judgment on somebody, the case is still open. We're issuing writ of executions to keep all these judgments alive so that they can collect on these. That affects Susan's office. They do abstracts. They file them in Susan's office, anywhere that they've got property. And they're coming back every 10 years so that they can keep those judgments alive, so that they can collect on those. The state has really come down on us. And a lot of district clerks have retired. And if somebody would have signed up, I might not be here today because a lot of them are giving up. We have what would they call a performance measure report. I'm sorry, I said this lost from my mind. That is a report for the judges. We have a county court at law and we have a district court. That measures their rates. These judges have to stay at 90%. So that they don't have to have a mentor and go through all of that. That's not gonna happen on my dime. My data is gonna be correct. If I have to go through those cases for months, I do not want one of these judges coming back and saying it's my office's fault.
Alright. We're done with the public hearing, there's no voting, okay, so we're done, that's not finished, yes, sir.
Probably not the appropriate procedure. Still. People.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, would you like to talk among yourselves? I can't let you go out, but you know, if you want to talk among yourselves, you can before you.
And I just wanna say something. Y'all are allowed to give me more than what I asked for. Y'all are allowed to give me less.
That's part of my question, and I think the public service here, which takes so. But 35 years in operations, 7 years. Vice president of operations, number 11 company, US. And part of my responsibility is people. HR. Are some subject to labor. Labor. So doing people right. Be a grand principle, start with. I recommend the next time. To provide revenue income. To find our need versus as far as solar versus population to Jim's point about all those pay. Doesn't matter. Territory,
The revenues per
salary per account.
yes, but the accuracy of the data divided into time, so it's not good. So that's why.
That's that, but to his point, the thing about population. So it's not fair income basis. But I would propose that she amend her request. And we not pay less than. I think that's unfair to.
Now's not the time to request.
Well.
But they can talk about themselves, I think it's still on that motion of them.
Then, go. And then there's another process too.
But Susan, they get to talk to each other. No, it has to be in the open. You don't have to talk to each other if you want.
Fair us to them is the amount of responsibility, you know, level that they understand the responsibility of the county. We're not having. However, we do need to pay fair. Or else a person should go to another county or. So. Basically just being fair. And anybody else, what she's asking us to. So what I said, during that bottom, it's like air. So.
I think that we have to
mutual agreement, I just, you know, for knowledge purposes, you know, we don't know really, but I know that to probably. She tried to push the job and work for others. I got my back. Where's the whole? But I'll my consistent. I'm sure. To get out of my way and my way. And I worked every last week, I get my insurance. And my salary is not much. But I have no responsible set of change, so it's a fashion rate. Exactly. That when I did be responsible. I'm not like much.
Okay, all right. Storm, you just please announce the results of the vote. We have 7 yeses, 2 noes. Okay, just 2 noes. Next phase would be, so that means next phase would be for review to determine what amount that should wish to present the report or the. How you want to do this? You want to give the committee guidance on what?
Like we have answers. Yeah, so.
Yes.
Anywhere from 10,000 to 8,000. Got 3 in the 80s. 5 and 6. The first one is on the 77. I agree with that. I agree with that. You know, I'm here like that. It's majority. It's the other. So.
Georgia still for the.
Majority percent. But. More. The average most. Requested 74,000, up to 6,000. $27, $29. Well, we expect that to put it in, that would make it. So, you can see that sales, you request sales, force it. $77,486. Back in was average. 174. Everybody go for the average. All right. I have the results from the grievance committee, and that is to increase district clerk's pay $77,486. This will be on the commissioner's court agenda for September the 9th. Discuss the was there a vote on that, Ron? Was there a vote? Did they vote on that? Is that what the unanimous vote was? I believe so. I didn't hear the vote. I was not paying attention, but I was doing the election of that. Does the committee all agree with that number?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We will now move on to Constable Burton.
And I just want to say, I thank y'all, and I know that commissioners pick this way, usually, you know, they have the choice of elected officials or grand jury members. And I feel like y'all are my boss. I work for y'all. None of these people in here are my boss. Y'all are my boss. And I want to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
I want to thank you for your time,
Dedication. Thank you. Thank you.
I guess some stuff I'm gonna,
This is basically gonna explain what a constable does. If, I don't know if all of you know what we do, what our job details. It's a little different than just a regular, we have the job of a regular police officer, but we also have a different job as well. We have basically a double duty. Right. Then this other one I was gonna ask, all the numbers, y'all probably been through the numbers enough. But I had this year's printout of there's 23 reporting,
people this year, agencies or counties this year, and the numbers were different. As of, March of 2026, they reported to the salary committee. So I was gonna pass that one out, but I think you explained enough about the difference on there. I'll give you a little, my name's Heath Burton. I've been on the streets as a peace officer for 23 years. I've been in law enforcement since I was 17 years old. Started out in jail, and I worked my way up from a jailer to a patrolman, corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, narcotics. I've done every bit of it. So it's
whenever my pay is based off of
rookie deputy. That's what they give us.
We get rookie, somebody straight out of the academy, they give us $57,000.
$22 plus. We got certificate pay on top of that. So, and whenever I went in this year at my budget hearing, I've been in office longer than any constable in Van Zandt County. I was in the courthouse. So when I first took salary, Mr. Barton, when he came in office, he really worked on our stuff. He really did. And he got us up more than the other three wasn't here whenever Brandon first got in. And he got us up to where we were at least making, deputy pay. So that, or this year I put in for 74,000 for basically what the fire marshal's making, which is also pretty close to the chief deputy pay. Most of your constables in every county off of a chief deputy pay is what their pay is. 74,840, which I come to a meeting, I was like, that, I just want to at least make lieutenant pay of the sheriff's office. So that's what I grieve on my grievance here. 5961 plus the 4540 certificate pay. And this was all before the 3% raise that they agreed on giving elected officials. Now, once you have the 3% is all 3% is all fine and dandy, but 57,000 of 3% is 1,600 or whatever. So we're still at the bottom of the barrel. And then you have somebody making 77,000, well, they're getting 3%. So the richer getting richer and the poor getting poor. Down here at the bottom, I just didn't really think it was fair enough for me as a 23 being in office 20 or an officer for 23 years making rookie deputy pay. They deserve more money too. I'm not saying they don't deserve it. The other constables that come in office, they didn't want to come up. They didn't want to agree. They said they hadn't been in office long enough. They didn't think it was going to help them. They didn't want nothing said about them coming up and agree. For that. But I'm not going to go all, Perrin went through all that numbers. I'm not going to sit here and put y'all through all the numbers again. Basically the same thing that she's going after too. I'm not going to bore y'all with there's no sense in putting all the numbers up again. So I'm sorry y'all had to come up here and deal with this on a Friday afternoon. But I mean, the deputy goes on duty. Going back to the deputy, I know I'm jumping around, skipping around. I don't like talking in front of a lot of folks at one time. And I start thinking about other to talk about. But a deputy they work 4 days on. They get 3 days off. They work 3 days on, they get 4 days off. And I've been told, well, a deputy can't leave work when they want to. No, they can't leave work when they want to. They have to stay there 12 hours a day. You're exactly right. They can't. But a deputy can turn their phones off after their 12-hour shift and not have to answer the phone. I'm answering my phone 7 days a week, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. Deputies are calling me when it comes to a civil issue. They don't know how to answer a civil issue. So a rookie deputy can't go out and get elected by the people. I mean, I guess he could, but he's not really going to know what's going on. We got more schooling we have to go to learn the civil stuff, the civil process, the eviction process. A constable is by themselves. Deputies have other deputies on duty with them. I'm by myself. I go out to the locations to serve evictions. There's been more constables killed since October of last year than there ever has serving eviction because they know we're by ourselves. I mean, we're going and telling people they're having to move out of their house. And that's not an easy thing to do, even for us. We don't want to go, that ain't a job that we want to have to do. We don't want to go tell somebody, hey, you're having to leave your house. Well, when they don't show up for eviction, or if they do show up for eviction court, judge awards the house to the tenant or the landlord or the homeowner or whatever. He gives them 5 days to move out. They don't move out of the house. They have to come back to the courts and file a writ of execution. I have to go back out there and post on the door or on the window or what I have to do. 20 to me to give them longer to get out of the house. So if they don't get out of the house, guess what? I have to go physically off the property myself. I don't have no help. I don't have no deputy. I can call the other constables. I have other constables that hairy situation, call somebody to come, but they have their own precincts to worry about. They have the same stuff, and we've had to go help each other. We do help each other. I've had to call deputies. Deputies have they're busy. They're shorthanded. they have 2 deputies on what, two on a shift, 3 on a shift now? 3 on a shift to cover this whole county. And I mean, you got a deputy in Rolling Oaks. I don't know if everybody knows what Rolling Oaks is. And if I'm in Eustis, or I'll call it Eustis, addresses, I'm at the very south part of this county, running lights and sirens, the fight or the gunfight's going to be over with. Even by the time Canton PD gets there to me, it's over with. So, going back on it, I'm by myself, and yes, we did know what we got paid when we got elected, but we love our county. We don't want to go to other counties to go to work. I was raised in this county. I love working in this county. I love working with the people in this county. I've been here most of my career. Besides a few years, I was at Mineola. When I first started, I was at Mineola PD, but I came back here as quick as I could because I loved working in my county. My kid grows up here. I want to try to make it a safer place for my son to live here, everybody else's younger kids to live here, but it's always, well, you can go somewhere else and go to work. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. I don't want to go nowhere else. I want to work here. I want to be able to have my good retirement. I want a retirement just like everybody else does, put my years in, serve a retirement, and be able to live comfortably. I mean, they said it earlier, based off the last 3 years of your pay, look at my retirement off $57,000 a year, what it's going to be. And I only have about 2 years left on this term. This is my second term. And last term, nobody ran against me. I was fortunate enough, nobody wanted it. But if I can do a stepping stone and a lot of reason why nobody wants it is because of the pay. Okay? If I can do a stepping stone of getting our pay raised, more people will want to run and work in this county. I'm not opposed to somebody else coming. I've had my years, but I'll continue doing it as long as I can. As long as somebody runs against me, I'll continue wanting to be the constable of precinct 2. I love my job. It's not an 8 to 5. It's a 24-hour day. So I'm so scared that I'm going to miss a phone call. I have my desk phone forwarded to my personal cell phone. It rings whether I'm on vacation. It rings at night. It rings no matter where I'm at. Somebody calls the sheriff's department, civil issue, they give them my desk number, cell phone, no matter what. Try to explain to them. You wouldn't believe the phone calls that we get about child custody, about my boyfriend won't let me in, my girlfriend won't let me in. There's 40 minutes I'm on the phone explaining to them of the process they have to do. We can't go out and do civil standbys no more. Everybody wants us to go out and do a civil standby. Well, somebody across the country or wherever, because an officer went out and done a civil standby with somebody to get their property. A civil standby is where we go out and stand by somebody get out trying to problems. But now they require us for that person to go in and file an order to get a judge and tell them what they're getting. And now I have to go serve that person to come to court and say, yes, that's theirs, or no, that's not theirs. Now we got a whole nother court. So it's not just going out and answering criminal calls or family violences. We have a lot more than we do. We go help on wrecks, fires, assaults. We do it all. Papers. They can't serve civil papers because they don't have the civil process school. You'll have civil process in the county. It covers mostly child support, tax liens, and the bigger stuff that does. The JP courts on property were 20,000. If it was over 20,000, they had to go to a county court to file anything. They have since come out that they're fixing to raise it. Anything 50,000 or over is going to start coming to JP court. So my load is fixing to get a lot more than just eviction here because it's under 20,000. Now it's going to be 50,000 under. Now it hasn't passed yet. I'm not saying it will, but county courts there's so much here any kind of property hearings of under 50,000, you know, or 50,000, so they're gonna give it to do, and then, of course, if the JP has a court, I have to be for the JP courts. Anytime I have to be there, or I have to appoint someone to be there if I can't be there. I have a reserve, but they have full-time jobs. I can't just say, hey, I need you in court at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. No, I got a real job. I have to work. So I'm the one that's having to go do it. So I'm sorry to bore y'all with this, and I'm pretty sure my time's about up. I'll rattle on all day long about what we do. So after I get started, I'll go to talking and going back and thinking, crap, I didn't tell them this, so I need to tell them this. But thank y'all for being here, and thank y'all for hearing me and considering everything that me and Karen have trying to stand up for ourselves and trying to get some stuff done. Thank y'all.
My name is Jay Meyer. I moved to Canton about 10 years ago from Alaska. To let you know, I've been involved and worked in law enforcement for over 30 years. Before I get into this issue, you need to know the history here. This is a bigger issue than just a pay raise. It's not about a pay raise. It's about entry-level pay to attract law enforcement officers that are good. When this issue came up before, a couple of years ago, Heath asked me to talk to the jury about the situation. I believe it was a 3% or $3 an hour pay raise to all the employees again. When I heard the issue about the entry level, I thought it was such a slam dunk I didn't even do any research. It was obvious to anybody that's worked in law enforcement that the constable is completely underpaid on the matrix. The entry level was the same, or is the same right now, as an entry level deputy with the police department. But the argument was made that the constable was part-time. Well, because of the pay scale, the only people you can attract were people that were not really law enforcement officers. Every constable before Heath had a full-time business, and consequently, he spent more time making money in the than he did being the constable. And consequently, there were a lot of complaints, and eventually, Heath applied for the job, and he won it right away. He's got the background, and you heard him. He's the best thing you could. That being aside, the sheriff he gave up 2 positions to get the $5. There's him in the hall. He'll back. At the time, the commission gave this across-the-board pay raise to everybody. Fortunately, because I didn't do my homework, I think we lost that vote by 1 vote. The reason being, I didn't know at the time that the commissioners also got the same pay raise as all the employees, but they didn't tell anybody, or at least at the court they didn't tell anybody, that they got a $2,000. Now that would have made the difference. I think that commission, and I'm talking about the past, was remiss in their fiduciary responsibility. I think they were more interested in giving themselves a pay raise than taking care of public safety. To that end, I would point out Heath told you. He's not part-time. He works 24. That phone, the middle of the night, everywhere. Many times he's on scene before the sheriff's office can get there. The sheriff will tell you he's got a 45-minute response time for a deputy. He also has financial problems. He didn't grieve them this time, but I'm sure those issues have not changed. A deputy for the sheriff makes the same money as your constable. The difference being, when the sheriff's shorthanded and they work overtime, that deputy's making a hell of a lot more than the constable. And he has way less experience and way less responsibility. We need to equalize this pay scale, this matrix. It's not as much about a pay raise for Heath. Who are we going to attract? Another part-time constable that ain't going to do the job? We don't want, you know, he could go $1 donut, that sheriff would hire him. But why would he go there when he's going to be underpaid there too? That's why the argument that if you don't like it, go someplace else, that doesn't hold water. You know, we're talking about this, and because I'm taking your time, I want to talk to you about this 3%. Automatic 3%. It damn near bankrupt the government. But who benefits from a 3% pay raise? Only the guy. Bigger and bigger. Increase. But then let me ask you about that. Well, you kind of okay. You know, if it was okay, if it wasn't a cost of living. If it's a cost of living increase, it's exactly the worst way to do it. Financially. Because it means what it costs you and me and everybody in this room to live. Increase for your daily life. Now that's the same for you, me, and everybody. The price of eggs doesn't change because I make $20,000 a year more than the guy underneath me. So why did anybody raise on a cost of living increase than the same thing it costs? So why would you get $5 a year more than I get? It's not reasonable. It's an easy way. A 3% raise is an easy way to get more money for myself. And as long as we're talking about it, he's asking to change this matrix by about $10,000. In the overall picture of the county budget, $10,000 is not a lot of money. It's a lot of money to Heath or to the constable, but it's not a lot of money out of the budget. But this issue got killed before because we didn't know about that particular raise, about a vehicle raise, a vehicle, what I want to say, I can't remember, but in any case, that particular item is now $15,000 per commissioner for vehicle maintenance. Just one of those would have paid this. Today. our there's a committee over the commissioners, they're elected. The only oversight committee is when somebody gets upset and minutes ago. You have the power to going on for several years. The matrix, don't give him the pay, give him the entry, and that'll automatically give it to him. Change the matrix. Thank you.
I'll say something. So first, he's a friend of mine, and I'm a big friend now with the commissioner. So when I first got in office, the constables were a little bit lower than what they are now. They weren't as low as the other elected officials. And he came to me and another constable, and they wanted deputy pay. And I agree with them. And they deserve deputy pay. And I made them a promise, and I made my promise, and we got a deputy pay. And what the gentleman just spoke about, $10,000 isn't much. We just got done with the budget. And we didn't want to go to the voter approval rate. We wanted to go between the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate. So we went in between. We had a $1.5 million deficit with this 3% raise. So we talked about it, and we had to vote on it. But we're gonna, in order to keep the county sustainable, we're gonna have to go to the voter approval rate, but we're still $300,000 in the hole. And what the constable is asking for, as of right now, there are 23 counties. He ranks number 13 out of 23. There's 44% of the constables that make more than him. Out of the other elected officials, they rank number 3, number 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, and 5. They're in 80% more of these elected officials make more than ours. Only 40% make more than the constable. So I think we're in a fair pay range, and what's going to happen is if this is awarded next year, you will have everybody coming back here and wanting that median pay, and then we're going to have to go to y'all for a vote to increase property taxes even more than what we're having to raise for them now. Because it's not that he doesn't deserve it. We just don't have the money. And it's not fair for one person to be ranked in the top percent and these others be ranked in the lower percent. I mean, it's not fair, but it's what we got to deal with. And if we do this, it's just gonna start a domino effect, and our property taxes are just gonna skyrocket. So that will be up to us as residents. You know, everybody wants the property taxes down. If you want property taxes down, this will start a domino effect. We all want to go to the city.
So are all your commissioners 24-year police officers? Or are they, sorry?
I don't know what
I
the
mean, you said they will all come and want money. I think his thing is, in doing.
I'm talking about all elected officials, everybody, not just constables. And if you look at it, like I said, there are 23 counties, they're ranked number third. They are the 13th highest paid out of 23. And everybody else is number 3. So they're getting more percentage than everyone else. But we just have to deal with what the money that we have. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, these law enforcement officers don't deserve it. The money's got to come from somewhere.
So this one's a little more difficult for me to work over in my brain because what is the salary supplement? What, because I look over at the chart and the numbers and I see counties in
back to when we were talking about Karen's, we have a problem with longevity pay. And I don't think we can fix it this year, but I'll be here next year, and, I'm gonna try, a year from now, so not this year. It's so hard, and Jessica, she's our HR girl, she can tell you how hard it is to implement longevity when we're already in it. And so, a way to combat that, to go another way, is supplement pay on your success. That basically will take care of your longevity pay. But we haven't looked into that, but once again, it comes into more money, the property taxes, which, when I said, well, it's beneficial, I said, well, these.
So that every county and every constable has the responsibility of the certificates, or the certificates the same? Because if you look at the supplement pay, which goes to the overall income, some get it, some don't, which changes what.
Years of service.
Okay.
And different trainings.
You've got like master,
I have a master.
there's like,
There's several.
there's 3 steps. He has the masters, he's getting the maximum amount. Now, some come in there and have step 1 or whatever, there's a maximum amount with the masters, but he has that.
Yeah, that wasn't added until 23, and under Sheriff Joe Carter, he pushed for that, and we got it in there. And we're spending well over $100,000 a year for a certificate pay for all of our long pay.
The ones that have the higher supplement pay have been with the counties, they have been there long.
And
They have had more training, higher certificates got.
The training, so it's not just a master's. Okay, you have to have 3 other certificates as well to get the full deal. So you have to have a SWAT certificate, FTO, firearms, FTO training, and a master's. You get to have at least 3 to get the full amount, no matter how many years of service you have. I could get 22 years, have the master's, and I don't get the full thing. But I gotta have a SWAT certification, or a field training certification, or a firearms certification. I have to have another certification to go with it. I don't just get it just for that. And on the, and Brandon's right, I did come to him about deputy pay, but we came to him, came to him as lieutenant pay. And they got it down to deputy pay. So that, and we were happy, we got a raise, so we were happy with that. At least we're getting what a rookie deputy is. But that was 2 years, and 2 years ago, I believe he told me, like I said, we're friends, we take this out, we don't take this outside when we argue. We argue all the time with each other. But as soon as we get done arguing, we're talking about something else. Now, whenever, if you think about the 10,000, I guess is what he said, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But we're using money other places in this county, $80,000 just to see if the windows need to be replaced in this courthouse. There's 8 years for 10,000, they could give us a raise. That's 8 years, 10,000, right? I mean, that's money wasted. They could be going towards somebody's salary. I mean, I call you give me 80,000, I can walk out the window and tell you, how many windows need to be replaced in that courthouse? That's pretty simple.
I would like to correct.
So,
Okay. Architectural work done to document what needed to be done and to get for an RFP.
Okay.
There was work that was done, and there were.
Okay. All right, well, that's fine. But it was still 8,000.
My other question on the counties that are up there, I know that Vanzant County is split into 4 constables, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So are each of those counties, do they have 4 constables as the overall budget? Are they paying 4 constables? Are they paying 2 or less? I mean, are they the same?
That they don't tell you that. And so also there's counties out west that don't have, or south that don't have as many people that we deal with. So that's going off of different counties, yes. They may, the whole county as a whole may have as many people here, but that constable's precinct may not have hardly anybody in that county, in that precinct. But we know that our precincts here, look at precinct 2, precinct 4, how many homes are being built right now? How many people are moving there? I mean, people are selling their land left and right for an acre, $55,000 an acre, and people are buying it up just to build a house there.
Not territory wise, I'm for instance, what look at, what's the next highest one that's closest to you, say Anderson County, how many constables does Anderson County have?
The counties that are populated, I'm assuming this, and I'm gonna say I'm 90% right. Counties with our population.
A minimum.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, they go out their letter, they have.
There's 100 counties that have a population less than 2,000. Okay, and so they probably do not have 4 constables.
Yes, I'm talking about those charts.
They're not taking into consideration. This is the counties that are our population size, maybe not our monetary size.
Right, and that's what I was asking, is populations there on those counties, does each one of those counties have 4 counties?
Anderson County does have 4 constables, but like I said, though, they may have 4 constables, they may have 3 constables, 5 constables, 6, I don't know, but each precinct is, and you go down further south, they don't have that many people in their precinct as we do here. I mean, we have, so if you divide us up, we're busier here than a lot of constable agencies there are around. We have more stuff. I mean, Susan has called me at 5:30 in the afternoon. I gotta have this person served before tomorrow because she needs to be at court tomorrow. Well, we come up here and I meet her at the door and I go serve the paper. Or I stay out until I find them at home to serve her. It may not be, so I'm taking time with my family after 5 o'clock. I'm about 8 to 5, so, but it needs gotta be served, so a regular person cannot just serve that paper.
How many of y'all have reserves?
I know I have one that actually works, but again, he has a full-time job. Okay. Yes, sir.
Would you consider yourself the point man, the leader of that group?
At that time, yes, sir, because I was the first one on the scene, so I would be in charge of that scene. Yes, sir.
Is there a rank of what deputy and constable?
I'm one of the highest peace officers in the county as a constable, besides the sheriff.
Responsibility wise, given, say, the orders to.
Well, they wouldn't be in my department, but we have a kind of a mutual thing. There's no deputy in this county or any other county that's going to disrespect an elected official or a constable or somebody over the own.
I was kind of seeing it as your position.
I would, basically, yes, I would be at the time, but I have not yet ever had anybody disrespect me on a call. Yeah.
If he shows up on the same person, he is in command of that scene. And so he releases command to a deputy or to whoever. It could be a trooper, it could be a deputy, whoever he releases that scene to. If he's first on scene, he is in command of that scene.
A little while back, I had heard it put out here. They celebrate, which is great. Basic county debt free. Now, we may have already absorbed that, you know, and spent it now. Since it's debt free. NOI wise, still better, sir. How do we do as a county? All in all, NOI per month or year?
What is our budget?
Yes, sir.
Well,
Income after expenses was.
well, we budgeted 2 years ago. The budget was purposely budgeted at $3 million because we've had so many reserves that we built up over the years. We felt like that we could absorb them. You got to be careful. You don't want to keep adding expenses that are going to continue year after year after year with some new employees and things like that. Well, it turned out we didn't spend. We didn't spend $3 million. We actually added another $2.5 million into our general reserve this year. So, you know, and this year, or this last year, this fiscal year 26 that we're in right now, we did some heavy cutting. We asked all the departments to cut, and we went down to bone. We actually, Road and Bridge actually gave back some to the general fund, because they get 25% of the general fund, they only took 20. And so, we should be in good shape this year, okay? But now we're going into, we're having to fix what we did last year, all that cut in the road and bridge, and that's going back in there. At the same time, okay, those you don't know, you know, when we talk about taxes, we're only allowed to go up 3.5%, raise more than 3.5% than the prior year. Okay, so that's the maximum amount you can add to it in your tax rate. And the situation with that is, we had gas go up $1.50 a gallon. We had postage go up. We have, you know, we're doing 3% salary increase. Okay, all of that added together in addition to the thing we gotta do. So it was well exceeding 3.5%. So we can't raise more than 3.5%, but we have 10% more expenses. So what do you do? Okay, what are you going to cut back on? So we have a fiduciary responsibility to set a budget, basically a balanced budget. Okay, but we can go into the deficit knowing that we have money in the general fund that is available to us, but we don't want to do a budget, set a budget to where we go into the general fund every year. Okay, so we have to be very careful with that. That's what happened to the county back in the early 2000s, when they had a combination of things, financial, economic downturn, and they lowered the tax rate, and then they had an economic downturn. They didn't have the money coming in, and the county was actually taking road and bridge money to make payroll. And when that ran out, they were borrowing money to make payroll. Okay, we're not going to ever get back into that situation. And again, part of that reason is that we were going to be responsible in the budgeting process that we do, and make sure that we don't. And that's why we haven't been awarded and increases more. I set the budget at 5% when the first budget, you know, that we talked about. I said we're going to do a 5% increase. Again, trying to help the employees because of the massive inflation. I said inflation went up 31% between 21 and 26. Okay, 31%. But we only can raise 3.5% each year. You know, it's just it's incredible. So that's why the salaries. That's why I want to show you where we are. Okay, and every single one, he and Karen and every other elected official I know is working very hard and deserves a raise. All of law enforcement, Sheriff Bridger is fighting for his deputies to get money, and they deserve it. But there's only so much in the pot that we can dish out, and it becomes a situation where you're robbing from Peter to pay Paul.
But also, Joseph is talking about gas prices going up, everything. Well, I don't get $15,000 a year to put gas in my personal vehicle or my wife's vehicle and still get to drive a county vehicle. Okay? Because there is a law against that. It's called misapplication of pecuniary funds, which is a felony charge. If you get a county pay of a vehicle allowance and then get caught in a county vehicle driving it, it is a felony charge. Misapplication of pecuniary funds, and we'll file on you for it. Okay? But gas is going up. The point is, gas is going up for everybody. I don't get no supplement from my gas from my personal vehicle. I get my 57, and the minimum state salary, if y'all have not seen it lately, the minimum state salary is $58,000. They say is the minimum wage salary in the state of Texas. I make 57,492. I make under the minimum salary that they're saying in the state of Texas. It just came out the other day.
Who's they?
I'm sorry?
Who is they?
Who is what?
Who is they that says the minimum salary?
It just came out. It just came out the other day whenever they were talking. It was on the news when they were talking about the teacher salaries.
That's the case that every single county employee
is getting minimum wage, below minimum wage. But again, we can talk about the county and everything. Everybody, I don't have an 8 to 5 job. Okay, I'm 24/7. But we could go on for days about all this.
But I would also like to point out that the county does provide you a vehicle.
Yes,
It
they do.
provides you the gas.
While I'm at work.
Okay, while you're working.
While I'm at work.
Okay, then I just want to point that out, and we can talk about that.
Right, while I'm at work, I do.
It might not be evident, but it may be, and I just want to make sure that you understand, we have 4 precincts in Van Zandt County, and there are 4 constables. There are 3 others like you that are in this county that work during the day, and they do work together. And I am sad that during the conversations here that we need to attack other departments, whether there were commissioners that said, you know, we're going to give up our vehicle, and that's what happened. Is they said we're going to give up the county vehicle and the county gas and this kind of stuff, and we're just going to give the commissioners $15,000 annually as a supplement because we use our vehicles as we drive around doing the business that we do. So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with with needing to prop yourself up on somebody else. I think we need to look at these constables and what they do and where they are in the salary pool compared to everybody else in the county when you're making your considerations. What we have is we have a situation where we do have limited funds. Are there places in the county that we can cut? Do we cut in the road and materials budget? Do we cut in Karen's salary? Do we cut in the clerk's salary? Where do we
Easy
cut?
there, Cliff.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. All of them do great work. So it really comes down to, do we raise taxes or do we not? And we're got over 3.5% goes to the ballot to determine if the folks out there are interested in doing that. Are they interested in in the courthouse? If you're a deputy, the sheriff's deputies that work for him they're not concerned about whether the windows are in good shape, because that's not necessarily where they, that's not keeping them warm and cool. They don't have a direct hand in that. The people who work for me in the road and bridge, they don't. Matter of fact, they'd rather not have air conditioning so we can experience what they do. Because they work in the heat every day, and I feel for them. I don't feel enough for them that I go out and help them, but we all have our concerns. We all have issues that we're running through. And so when you're making your decision related to these grievances, which I think we've said before, look at how long have they served the county? What do they do, etc. Where are they in the matrix compared to where the rest of the folks are? And cut out, in my mind, I hope that you cut out what the constables do, or what the commissioners do, or what the sheriff's deputies do, and look at the specific issue and find out whether or not it's valued and whether there's merit there. And I'm not saying that there is or that there is not, because they do a job. They do a job for this county. They do a job for all the people here. And I think that job is important. Every court needs them. So, and I don't envy your position in this situation.
So my question is, we say don't compare the agencies, don't compare them to the commissioners, okay? But then is it okay for the commissioners to stand up and say, but if you make this decision, your property taxes are going up? Because that's what was just said.
That's what was said.
Is that fair to the taxpayers or the person doing the job to say to them, you make a decision, your property taxes are going up, and so is everybody else's? That seems like that's throwing the positions around just as that was. There's no difference.
Mm-hmm. It is exactly that. But if you don't take into consideration
out there that are engaged in waste, who are those?
And then I look at, I'm one person in Van Zandt County, and my tax, my land would pay his salary.
And we're still gonna be at the new positions that were asked for, which they asked, which was a lot asked for. But when we did in the ground, we haven't voted on any of it, we don't look. Brandon said 300, but it's probably closer to $500,000 in the hole. Just on, even if we go up as high as we can go up, with the 3% raise.
But his salary is the only place that can be.
Out there arresting the bad guys and putting them in jail. That's wonderful.
We have our 20.
And now our jail population has increased, and we have to address that. And we can't house them in our jail. We have to move them out. We have to house them out of the county, and we pay a premium for that. So, we're looking at $600,000 for the next budget year that we have to use for that, to account for that, unless we can get that. The other situation that's causing that too is the fact that we have a transition going on between our district attorneys, and the process is slowing down all the legal work going through. So we have to account for that in our next budget. But again, okay, I get all these additional expenses added. What am I going to cut? Okay, the only thing that I have, the two things that I can cut is either people, salaries, or road and bridge materials. Road and bridge materials.
Yeah, and say healthcare, that's a big one too, because the healthcare, that doubled this year. And this will be the last thing I say. In the previous one, y'all got it to the median. That's what y'all wanted. The hospital's already at the median.
I have something to say about that. So the supplemental pay, you take that off the table because he's having to do certificates for that. He's having to have to work for that. He's got to do some training for that. It's not something that your other people may not get that. I don't think that should be included in what his actual full
Well,
salary is.
I did not include it in mine.
So it's 57, which doesn't put him in the
I
budget.
didn't get my glasses.
It puts him on about number 14.
So the average what I did, there was 23 counties that reported our size. I took the highest 3 and the lowest 3. I took them out. Took those salaries out. I added the other 17 up. The average salary for a constable was $60,396. That's not including the supplement pay. Ours is getting paid $57,492 this year. Now, that's not including that's coming back. That's right now. That ranks number 13 out of 23, which is 50. There's only 44% more of the constables making more than ours. 56% more of the constables make less.
Yes, yeah. What would you like? Or wait, Joe was here first.
I just wanted to point out that, it's interesting that when we make an offer that there might have been a better way to spend the money and use the reference of the vehicle allowance, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to speed it up. And this man accuses and threatens the tax increase. Can't we admit there might have been a better way to spend the money? I think there could have been.
Everyone has their own opinion on that, and and I appreciate you giving that. But Joe, did you
Yeah, real quick. Hey, I'm Joe Carter again. Like I said, 31 years in law enforcement in the state, being working in 7.5 years, last 2.5 years here as sheriff. I came in, filled a term for the fellow who couldn't complete his term. They appointed me as sheriff to come in here. When I got here, we had 70 full-time positions in the sheriff's office. That includes civilian employees, jailers, and deputies. I had 53 employees and 78 positions. Minimum staffing for that jail for a 24-hour period is 5 people. By state law, there's one person every 48 minutes. We've got a 144 bed facility. I've got to have 3 people on the floor, and I've got to have 1 in control. Minimum staffing is 4 people. They work 12-hour shifts. That's 8 people in one day, in 24 hours and a half. I had 2 deputies, and we had to scramble every day to do that. Sometimes we, as administrators, had to help cover patrol. I had 2 deputies working 804 square miles, wherever this county is, but somewhere close to that. 24 hours a day, 2 deputies on for 12 hours. I had 53 employees. We couldn't afford to have people out sick. I had deputy jailers working in jail, working 22 days straight was the longest stretch I know without a day off. 12 hours a day, 22 days straight, a day or night. Shift started at 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then new shift. I'm gonna go back to what I said before. Get the best people you can get. Get the best people you can get, and you keep them. The year before I came over as sheriff, they cycled 44 people through 19 positions in that jail. There's 21 full-time positions. We had 2 people who've been back here with us for some period of time. They cycled 44 people through 19 positions in a 12-month period. I don't care if you're running a lemonade stand, you are going to fail. Those people we have in custody back there, we are responsible for the time we put our hands on them and get them back there. They haven't been convicted. They haven't pled out. They haven't been good about court of anything. They've been accused of a crime. They've got their constitutional rights. That's why the jails, as the new gender's been working, you understand between jail and prison. These people over here have been convicted. These people down there have been pled out or been convicted in court. That's how they went up to prison. These people haven't been convicted in anything. They've been accused of crime. We have to treat them fairly. That's when you treat them like extended family as much as we possibly can. They were fed well. We took as good care of them as we could, medically and everything else. A lot of them put on weight. They spend time with us. They came out in better shape than they were when they got there. Unfortunately, that's all put back on our own property here, on our property here. We all have to pay for that. Okay. What I'm getting down to is this gentleman here. I'm going to speak to him individually because this is one filed in grievance today. If he tells you something, that's the way it is. If I call him on the phone, he will answer his phone. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, he's done it for me. He will come. You can't find it everywhere. He's highly trained. I wish he's still the sheriff's office. The sheriff's sitting here today. You can't replace people like that. I had 78 full-time positions. I ought to have a 30-year employee working there. I should have had a couple of 20-year employees. I ought to have had multiple 15-year employees working there. Didn't have it. There's 2 employees in legal student today around 18 years straight. That includes civilian employees. 78 or 80 positions where you're at now. He's got 2 people that have been over there 18 years. There's no continuity. We need to keep those people here. Take all this away. Zero that for a minute. Listen to what I'm telling you. Every one of these officers, him, they can leave here about 30 miles down the road. 20,000.
160 terrible.
Start. North Black, Terrell Police Department this afternoon. 22 miles down the road. We need him here. When he was working in other constables, I had 2 deputies on. If they had a call, they'd come. Sometimes they just show up. You put on his pants and come out. You know where you were on Thanksgiving Day, November 2023? I do. It was drizzling, rain, it was cold. I went that morning to my sister's house to eat Thanksgiving dinner with my family, which I hadn't get done in years. He calls me on the phone, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. He's 2 miles from me. He's got a guy who's stolen a high-performance muscle car. It was getting redone, really redone. He had how many thousands in that?
At the time, it was 44,000.
And what finished with the car?
Let's get back on track. Okay.
Yes, sir, I am. I am on track.
But Joe, yes, it is.
Yes, you hold the question for me? Real quick. The guy jumps the car off there, people call, neighbors call, they don't call 911, they call him because they knew the answer phone. He jumped over there, answered over there, called people, he called me, told me what he had. We got some concealed tractors and equipment around here. He called him, he didn't call the sheriff's office to send a deputy, he went over and handled himself. I said, you need to come see me, a deputy. He said, no, I got it. That's the type of person he is. These people go, we need these people here. I don't want to keep you sitting longer than y'all might get tired of sitting. Just all I ask you is consider what he's asking for. All these numbers, one thing, we're close to an hour outside the Metroplex. Public safety should be a primary concern here. This is what I do. I respect these guys for what they do. Think of what he's asking for, if you would. Thank you. Yes, sir.
And I agree with you, but you're saying you go to 160 Kaufman County, and you're right. But they don't have the industry that we have, and do we want to pay their tax rate?
And I agree. These guys, I have respect for them. But again, they didn't create this. I'm just telling you facts, and you can go over there. No, we don't have a tax base. It'll come someday. Unfortunately, people are going to come before we get the tax base. You're not going to get the box stores, Home Depot, those places that will come here until the demographics and population grow. No, I get it. Yes, sir. I can also tell you I had money left over in my budget at times that I wasn't allowed to spend on salaries. Of salary money I wasn't allowed to spend, they pulled it back. I get it. The highway patrol were non-existent here. That's why the jail numbers were down for years, part of it, and we couldn't fill all our deputy positions. They pulled the highway patrol out of our county and sent them to the border. There were times the highway patrol sergeants tell me, if you need a highway patrol, you're going to call Tyler or call Athens. We don't have any troopers available. Okay, we handle it. We worked those 2.5 years. I was over every boy I had, where we busted their butts over there. We go. We do it again. Highway patrol's back. Now the numbers are up. You're seeing the jail capacity go up. He's got deputies hired. That's why you got people housed out of the county. Just no disrespect. Just want to answer. Finish what my thought. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Is there anybody else who would like to say something? All right, I'd like to close it in this regard. Not one of the commissioners and I are proud of the salaries that these elected officials make. But we're accountable to the voters, to the taxpayers, okay? And that's why it's been a very slow process. We have done a great job getting the county employees up to a decent raise, but we haven't done anything with haven't been able to do that with elected officials. You have the ability to do this with these two people, once you've already done with Karen, okay? And you get to make that decision, and then we have to figure out how to make it happen, okay? And I don't, if that's the way it's going to be, fine. But I feel like that we have done a good job on the constables to get them where they're at, and that's the only elected official position that we've gotten up there. But as is pointed out, with all the things that they do and the things that our sheriff's department people do, we need to do more. But we don't want to do it at the expense of raising taxes. And so that's why it's where it's at. So.
Judge?
Yes.
Is it just for constable work or?
No, it's just for constable work. The salary grievance is not for a position, or it's for an individual who grieves it. And it will not apply to all the other constables unless the commissioner's court makes the decision to do that. Then we have to go back out and post it. And that makes it very difficult. So, yes. Okay. All right. Y'all have your ballots.
Remember, y'all. They can't hear it anyway.
I have a feeling today's hearing is going to dissuade people from wanting to become an elected official, or at least a commissioner on the commissioner court, when they see the difficulties that we have to deal with in that regard. That's what we want you to understand. We haven't done this intentionally. We've done it because our hands are somewhat tied.
We have an employee that does nothing but look for grants for our school district. They don't have that for like county.
We got to go to school and certificate to be able to do that.
Well, and what a lot of people don't understand is the amount of additional work required.
yeah, it's a lot of work.
to get a grant.
And I just have a great
You know, 2 years ago, I actually asked to get a grant writer. And the auditor department told me, if you get a grant writer, I need another person in my office to handle all the administration for grants.
We do have some grants.
Do I?
We do have some grants, right?
We do, yes. We're not, but we're not actively pursuing them because we don't, again, we don't have.
A lot of
the
auditing.
capacity.
Yeah, and then my first year.
Is the county not, or is it the state that utilizes the grant in advance for the officers there to patrol 20? I made that comment one time in front of an officer from Zandt County because of living there. And I'm like, why does Van, Texas have 5 officers on duty all the time? And they did. And I was told it's because they receive a grant. Is that just the city that receives the grant?
Well, we get a grant. Go ahead.
Okay. Maybe you can help.
So, I know that the city of Van does receive extra grants.
Okay.
It's for seatbelt, communication, addition to seatbelt, and, slow down. The sheriff's office, with the help of TechScott, they came in, they brought their grant writer to us and said, hey, we want to help y'all do this. And so they did, and their grant writer wrote us 2 grants for the same thing that the city of Van does. And we too received those 2 grants. One, the speed one was, don't quote me this number, I believe it was like $5,000 extra. And the other one, the seatbelt, was I think roughly right around the same price, $4,000, $5,000. And that is like overtime for the deputies. So speaking for Van and the sheriff's office, that's probably, I'll speak for the sheriff's office. That's why sometimes you may have seen an influx of deputies out there doing selective enforcement per the grant. But with that grant, I made it very clear to TechScott that if something happened, that I'll pull my deputy on that grant.
It does, I had heard that, and so when we were talking about grant writers, I wasn't sure how we had this, and so, because I don't know anything about that.
And also, anybody based on that, the influx of 47 to 100, however many oil wells they got in there.
Yeah, I don't know what, I'll worry about it.
I just know I grew up in Maine,
But
I lived in Maine.
to your question, we don't have a grant writer, but they loaned us their grant writer.
Okay, we have a full-time employee that's all she does, tries to find money for the district. You know, Chapel Hill just built that real big fancy stadium that we got, so.
Well, the state of Texas, it's called SB 22, 3 years ago, implemented a grant program called the Rural Law Enforcement Grant Program, which we have applied for every year, $500,000. Okay, and when they first did it, the county, I had to apply for it, and I was the only one that could do all the reporting for it. Okay, well, I can't tell you how many hours I've spent doing all that back in 25, and now they're coming back and auditing it, and they don't understand it. And I've spent literally 25 hours trying to communicate with these people and explain how to do it, and that's what I'm talking about. A grant is not, may seem free money, but it's actually taking up a lot of work. So anyway, do we have a result? Yeah.
So do you apply for grants to the state, or do you apply for grants through the Department of Defense?
Well, again, the grants that I applied for, yeah, again, they're all over the place. There's lots of grants available that are specialized, knowing where to find them and how to apply and meeting all the requirements. We have, I don't want to, we need to, I can talk to you about it.
Department of Defense is a great idea. The grant writer doesn't have to know.
Right. But it's not, there's all sorts of good grants out there. But again, we don't have the resources to do that research. All right.
right. The, committee voted unanimous yes.
Okay. Now, so that, you got your salary increase request.
I want to thank every one of y'all for coming in and listening. I'm sorry that y'all, again, that y'all have to come in on a Friday and spend 2 hours listening. It's very, very nice about our pay. We shouldn't have to do this, but we did. If I didn't stand up for me or try to get a stepping stone for the next nonprofit,
All right,
thank you.
thank you very much. All right, that concludes our hearing today at 4:16. Thank you so much for your participation. And I hope you'll learn something about county government.